Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content.
All right, Cavs fans, we have had Summer League to talk about. And look, only the sickos watch Summer League. So I brought on a certified sicko, Tony Pesta, to talk about Summer League with us today. All right, man. So how did you enjoy? Are they only doing the Utah Summer League now? Like they're not doing the Las Vegas one?
No, they're in Vegas. They're in Vegas this time. Yeah, they did the Utah one. I think that one's 3 games, and then they're in Vegas they've played 4 games. They did not make the playoffs, the Cavs. They're going to get a consolation game at some point here soon. I don't think it's scheduled, but listen, man, Summer League, sometimes you get the 2023 Summer League Cavs where you're like, hey, this is fun. Like I'm watching Imani Bates, Isaiah Mobley looks like Shaq. Like that 2023 was a lot of fun. This year, we had some special moments. Naquan Tomlin was fun. Tyrese Proctor had 35 last game. There were some moments, but I got to be honest with you, even a basketball sicko like me, I'm getting kind of Summer Leagued out. I'm watching most of these games being like, man, none of these, I don't even know who these dudes are. None of these dudes are going to be on the team next year. Like I'm more worried about the Cavs competing for the actual championship now. The Summer League championship isn't very exciting, but we still had some big moments, right? Like Naquan Tomlin was a legit standout. He's a guy who could realistically, he's on a 2-way contract right now, but maybe he could end up getting the standard contract at some point this year because the Cavs do need depth in the front court. He's 6'9" forward who can handle the ball, super very high motor. He led the Summer League in offensive rebounding. Like he was just crashing the glass every time down the floor. That's a guy who you could see translating to the Cavs. The guy who they selected 49th in the draft this year, Tyrese Proctor. The 3-point shot, I'm going to be honest with you. He only shot 29% from 3, which looks horrible, but the jumper looked good. Like he had the 35-point game in his most recent outing. Throughout the Summer League, anytime he was coming off a screen and just catch and shoot, it looked pure. Mm-hmm. His off the dribble stuff is what concerns me. I think there's some limitations to what he's going to be able to bring to an NBA floor this year, but he's a guy who's interesting enough to keep around, right? Like obviously the Cavs felt confident in him because they gave him a standard contract right away. And then Jalen Tyson, I don't know if he's going to play in the consolation game. He didn't play the last game, their 4th Summer League game, and I think they just kind of shut him down because, to be completely honest with you, he just looked too good to be in Summer League. It's not like he was completely blowing teams away, but he just looked too good to be out there. Everything looked too easy, especially the second half of the 3rd game that they played. I think he went on like a 7-0 or a 10-0 scoring run all on his own. It was just like he looked like he graduated. So we learned a little bit here and there from the Cavs Summer League, but overall, listen, as much as I'm excited about Tomlin, and I think Tyson probably is the most likely one who might play some minutes this year for the Cavs, ultimately, I don't see anyone on the Summer League roster being in like the Cavs playoff rotation when we get there, which I've seen a lot of people kind of jump the gun and be like, oh, well, like Tyson could help here, Proctor could help here. It's like the Cavs 8-man rotation's probably set. Maybe one of these guys will surprise us, and they've shown, interesting and fun things in the Summer League, but overall, it wouldn't put too much stock into it. At the same time, though, I will say, Summer League, if anyone's getting overly excited, that's your right. It's Summer League. You can get too hyped for the players in the Summer League. If you're all in on the Tomlin train, or Proctor or whoever else, you know what? That's what Summer League's for. It's all just fun at the end of the day.
I'm looking at these like shooting splits, and it's just a reminder of just how much better NBA players are than like
they're bad.
Even because they're like 35% from the floor, 20%. Like that's ghastly. Like
it's bad. Even I think Tyson shot like 40% from the floor, and I'm like, he looked too good to be out there. But the numbers don't show it, but it's ugly.
It's one of I think with basketball in general, it's like one of the hardest things to do is really like take what you're seeing when you're seeing guys get 30 minutes and 17 shots and try to like extrapolate that to, okay, what are they going to do with like 4 shots a game, right? In 10 minutes, against like the other team's first team wing, right? Like it's a bit harder of a judgment call to make, and that's probably why like Summer League is a tough evaluation. I remember Chris Dunn went off for like 30. Chris Dunn was like had one of the best offensive summer leagues of all time, and you never heard from him again offensively, at least. Now he's like strictly a defensive guy. So that's just kind of how it goes there, right? Like there's not much you can really take out of it. We're talking about one of the things we were talking about before was Ty Jerome no longer being here, right? That's now official. He's in Memphis. They've sent the thank you Ty Jerome post really late. Was there a reason that post was as late? I saw it like 2 days ago. Like,
if I had to guess, maybe I know they're not allowed to post about it until the contract and everything is like official. So that could be the reason. I don't know though. Yeah, that was the whole fallout was a little. I kind of expected that there was going to be some at least subtle drama, maybe a little pettiness if there was a departure between Ty Jerome and the Cavs, and it certainly delivered right away with his Instagram post.
yeah, like we're gonna he's gonna be interesting on the podcast. We're gonna hear some intro. We haven't heard the last. It's gonna be funny because it might get to a situation where fans feel the need to boo Ty Jerome.
He's gonna talk a lot of shit when they play when he's playing in Cleveland or just playing the Cavs in general. I'd imagine he's gonna be talking a lot.
Oh yeah, I would too. So we talked about Ty not being here, and what do you really think they're going to do to try to replace the scoring off the bench? Because Ty was the replacement for Karras, right? Like you felt good giving up Karras. I guess you could throw George Niang in there if you really want to, right? If you really want to be kind, because you were getting all that scoring from Ty Jerome. Well, now Ty gone. Where's that scoring coming from the second unit? Is it going to be because Kenny structures Darius or Donovan in a specific way that's going to come back into play? Or is there somebody that's going to come off this bench? I know a lot of people are hoping it's going to be like a Naquan Tomlin or somebody like that ends up providing that kind of role. Or are you just going to expect more from your other 6-man candidate?
Yeah, this is the main thing that concerns me, and that this was my worry when we were potentially going to lose Ty Jerome in the first place, is where is that scoring going to come from? Because I know Ty Jerome sucked in the playoffs, but guys, like on ball, just creating for himself throughout the regular season and even in the first round, he was legit elite at that for a bench player. And so where are you going to replace that? In all honesty, I don't think they're going to replace it. I think they're probably pivoting more towards like if Lonzo Ball's healthy, this is more of a defensive oriented second unit. They're kind of saying we're going to lose a little bit of that offensive edge we had, kind of try and, bank on Lonzo Ball being healthy and bringing that defensive identity to the bench. And then from what I understand and what I forget, I think maybe Kenny said it or maybe it was Kobe. Someone mentioned like, we're going to try and get Evan Mobley the ball more often with the second unit. Like we're just going to try and emphasize Evan Mobley being more of a scorer when he's out there, which is something that they did last year already. But it's a little easier to get him touches when Ty Jerome isn't pulling up from 30 feet whenever he feels like it. And Ty Jerome was a pretty solid playmaker, but I can see how it would be easier to feed Evan Mobley in those second units without Ty Jerome there. But as for like I mentioned, a lot of people are kind of getting a little bit excited about either Tomlin or Tyson or Tyrese Proctor. The thing is, man, creating for yourself in the NBA is not easy. And when you look at Tyrese Proctor, I'll start with him. The main thing that I would say he underwhelmed me for most of the summer league up until that 35-point game, because all of a sudden he was making everything, and he had a couple plays where he drove in, stopped at the free throw line, and pulled up like he was Zach LaVine. And I was like, wow, that he's not going to be Zach LaVine. But I was like, I didn't know that you could get to your spot like that, because previously throughout the entire summer league, my biggest concern is that he just couldn't dribble the ball around anybody. Like he could not break his man down one-on-one. If he was catching and attacking off of a closeout, he could create some separation there. Or if maybe he had a mismatch, like a big was switched on to him. But if it was just one-on-one against a point of attack defender, I thought Proctor looked like he felt kind of uncomfortable and wasn't really able to turn the corner on anybody. And from what I understand, I don't watch much college basketball, but just from people who I've talked to who do watch college basketball, this was a concern for him in college as well. Like he's just not great at turning the corner. He's not an elite athlete. And so if you're expecting Proctor to be the Ty Jerome replacement, and listen, Ty Jerome's not an elite athlete either, but he could create separation. He could get to his spots. Maybe that's something Proctor could do in the future, but I wouldn't bet on it entering this year, right? I'm not trying to put too much stock in the summer league, but if you're struggling to get around defenders in summer league, I don't expect you to come to the NBA and look like Kyrie Irving, right? Like I think it's going to be a little bit of a developmental path for him. I think more realistically for Proctor, he's kind of going to be like a 3-and-D guard almost. Like he's going to play off the ball. You even mentioned it. It's hard when you watch summer league to imagine what their role is going to be when they're actually in the NBA, because Proctor on this Cavs team, the context you're going to see him in is playing a lot off ball. Like that's going to be the role that he gets. I don't imagine he's going to run many pick and rolls or bring the ball up the floor that often. Maybe early on when Darius is, if he's not back right away and they end up giving Proctor a chance to run point, but I'd imagine he's going to play most of his time off ball. And again, the 3-point shooting looked really good. I know the percentage sucked, but like functionally, he looks like a good 3-point shooter. And so I could see him succeeding there. I just don't think it's unfair to put expectations on the 49th pick in his rookie year on a team that like actually wants to compete for a championship. So I wouldn't expect Proctor to replace Ty Jerome. I wouldn't expect Tyson to replace Ty Jerome. I don't think he really has the on-ball creation either. Tomlin, he's exciting again, like at his size with that handle and athleticism, the finishing, it's all good and great. But I think part of what people are missing is that what made Ty Jerome so crazy last year is that it came completely out of nowhere. It was so inexplicable. And that does, you get like one of those every 10 years in the NBA. If you're an NBA franchise, you don't just get your, fringe roster player who becomes a 6th man of the year candidate overnight. That doesn't happen very often. So I just wouldn't expect like Proctor, Tomlin, or Tyson to make a leap of that caliber. Maybe something smaller could be possible, but the Ty Jerome leap, we're probably not recreating that. It's going to be more of a defensive identity and maybe more DeAndre Hunter, like you mentioned too.
Yeah, it's like when Jeremy Lin happened and then everybody spent like the next 10 years being like, oh man, is he the next Jeremy Lin? Yeah. This guy could be the next Jeremy Lin. And it's like, probably not ever going to happen again in a way like that. So yeah, I get that. And even with Naquan Tomlin, like that 35-point game where we're like, oh man, he looks so much better. We're talking about a guy who went 11 to 24 and 4 of 14 from 3, right? Yeah. So,
it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, it wasn't like super smooth there. And like, honestly, for me, I think what his role is going to be at the Cavs is whatever they have him doing when Tristan Thompson's out there on the floor, more than likely. And I think that'd be like a hopeful role for him, right? Is to even see the court, right? Like 49th pick, I'm not really expecting much. I would rather be surprised by a 49th pick. And I think that's just a fair place to put him. Like I have seen what happens in sports media when people get all on the hype train with somebody who's like a 2nd round pick or a late round pick. And it's usually ugly because what happens is people put all this like hype on it. Then people kind of resent that hype is there because they don't believe it should be there. And then the second you get a chance to be like, oh, he sucks, it's vicious against that dude, right? Like that hype cycle can be vicious. So I have been cautious in both of my coverages of both the Cavs and the Browns being like, hey, y'all, let's just let it happen. Like,
exactly.
If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But we don't got to proclaim it now because there's no reason or evidence that you should proclaim it now. If we get to the point to where he puts up 35 against the Lakers in the regular, maybe in the preseason, we could be like, hold on, like, should Tyrese be playing more? But until then, we got to be careful with how much we pump it up just because he's the right height and stuff. I mean, we saw a similar thing happen with Emoni Bates, where
I was going to say that, yeah.
You can't bring his name up without people being like, oh, Emoni Bates, right? And that's because people were like, oh, my God, he's going to be the 3rd star for the Cavaliers when we drafted him in the 2nd round. And it's just like, why? This is not good for anybody.
Exactly.
To hype them up more than what is necessary. It's just going to be bad for everybody in the long run.